All right. Good evening, gang. Happy Tuesday night. Let's wait for the screen to come in and you guys can see me and hear me, and we'll get the show on the road. So, ticking and talking here. Do. Should be a couple more seconds here. Got to get through the time delay from YouTube to make sure I'm not, I don't know, showing guns or doing porn or anything like that. All right. Joe Cook says 555. There's my screen. Ekte, Tom, names Mitch B, Texas Raider, Robert, Dash Micro, Paula. All right, we cruise on through. All right, happy Tuesday, gang. So, hope y'all are having a nice break, at least for those of us in the eastern half of the U.S. It's cooled down a little bit. Nice, it was only 70 degrees here today. Felt like October. Mrs. P and I were sitting out on the porch this morning having coffee, and it was like here. Obviously, I went to get a haircut and actually turned the heat on in the car. It was a little cool. So, I mean, not hot, but it was like, okay, you know what? It's a little chilly in here. Still shorts. So, yeah, nice to do that. Get out and got some more wood chips spread, which is a never ending project around here at this point of the year. So, doing all that. But you guys see I know you saw some of it because I saw you guys talking about it. The fun in the news today. Cracker Barrel has capitulated and said they're going back to the old logo. You know, something like losing $200 million in the course of 3 or 4 business days. That might tell you you made a mistake. You know, Bud Light, Target, pick a few other ones that got kicked in the cojones real quick for doing something stupid. Now the interesting part, will they go in and undo all the let's make it look like a sterile McDonald's inside and go back to what people actually liked, the old country rustic pictures and signs and stuff like that. I mean, every time that we go to Cracker Barrel that often, maybe a couple of times a year, there's one up in Hillsboro that's an hour away from us. We'll go up there on the weekend or something like that. But I always catch myself looking around, looking at the signs. It's like, hey, that's kind of cool. Or reading something from an old newspaper. It's like that's what made the place fun. There's a fireplace there, and just that. So good on them. I don't know if they're going to do enough damage recovery from it because Bud Light tried to fix it. They're still getting they're still tanking, but it's still down there. The other piece of news today, oh my God, this is so important. Taylor Swift is engaged and nobody gives a damn. As I said on Twitter, I said, great. I said, now instead of writing breakup songs, she can write about prenups and lawyer fees and divorce court. Wouldn't doubt that Polymarket already has the odds on how long a marriage lasts, what the old winter is. Poison. So don't care. But it was funny because there was some CBS reporter that I caught a clip of that at the Instagram post. You're a journalist. You need to follow Taylor Swift. There's always so much important news coming out of Taylor Swift, and she's live on camera. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Like, well, lady, I hope unemployment's fine. By the time you get back to the office, there you go. You're out of here. So, nope. Sorry. In important stuff today, and this goes right into me saying all the time, I don't give a damn which party it is. When something stupid out there, I'm going to call it out. I wanted to scream when I saw Trump come up and say, "Oh, we want to give student visas to 600,000 Chinese to come here and go to school." No, you know, and I'll give you my reasons. I mean, I kind of get it. It's like, well, they pay international tuition rates. The schools can make money. They don't get student loans, so it's all that money coming this way. Yeah, that's fine. Okay? We don't need to be educating somebody who's loyal to the Chinese Communist Party. Okay? We don't need to be teaching them nuclear science or pick something, medicine. I don't care. Right? But the other part about it is every seat that one of those students takes is one less seat an American student can take. And say whatever you want about college. Okay. Sure, there's useless degrees, but there are certainly useful degrees, right? Again, I'll talk about PBJ and going to that school. That's kind of important. I like having doctors in this country. But we don't need to be educating the Chinese. If they can't do it themselves, it's their own damn problem. Okay. No, we don't need to trade, was it 300,000 Indian students for 600,000 Chinese students? No, period. You know, and it's like, well, we don't do this. These colleges would go out of business. Good. If they can't make it educating the U.S., maybe they should be in business anyway. We've got too many freaking colleges as is. You know, anybody and their mother can get into college at this point. At least back when I was out of high school, it was competitive to get into school. I didn't have the grades to get into University of Michigan. I could get into Michigan State, but not yeah. Uh, okay, I mean, I was a B student in high school. Fine, no big deal. But these days, because anybody and everybody opens up a college and says, gee, here's a strip mall, and we've got them in here. Here, I mean, there's one as I'm going to Knoxville. You pass it; it's literally a college in a strip mall. Well, we can get student loan money from these people, and this is where the problem comes in. Anybody and everybody can go to college, get student loans, get a useless education from most of these strip mall schools and for-profit schools and all this internet online only, schools, and they get all the student loans, and the colleges are going, cool, it's free money to us because the government's backing it. The college just cashes the check. They're good. And then the student's going, I got 90 years of payments on this or whatever it is. So, yeah, no, we don't. Those schools, gee, if they can't make it without letting foreign students in, they maybe should go open up their colleges in China. That's my point. So that was it. Okay, somebody says my mic is better when I lean forward. Sure, because it's a little tap mic down here on my right hand side. I get it. So, but sorry, I got to move around a little bit. Sitting on a kitchen chair is for 20 minutes isn't exactly comfortable on the back of the butt. So if I got to move a little bit, you move a little bit. But all right. So that was the fun part of today. For those of you that were paying attention yesterday and watched the Green Acres video, you saw the giveaway for the Mango E that we're giving away here in a couple of minutes. And the sale price of that, which is just incredibly insane. I also mentioned the Every E310 sale. I think that was over the weekend. So a couple of things there that you guys can take a look at if you're in the market for some backup power going into the winter, which I would suggest. Yeah, like I said, one of the videos there, I get it that they cost money. Put $20 in an envelope every paycheck. You know, eventually you go, crap, I got the money for it. Saved it up. So there you go. Skip the latte. That's all it takes. But just make sure you're taking care of your stuff. I mean, one of the biggest mistakes I see preppers make is they don't they store food, they store weapons, but they never consider their water and they never consider their power. And I've said it a million times, and I suggest it to everybody. One weekend at 6 o'clock on Friday night, throw the main breaker off and tell the family we are not turning the power back on the grid until Sunday night at 6 o'clock, and see how you survive. All of a sudden, I got to make coffee pot and my coffee in the morning in a percolator. Or, gee, we have an electric stove. How are we going to cook? And no, there is a thing. Well, gee, you know what? We'll just go out to McDonald's to eat all our meals. That ain't going to work. Yeah, honey, it's hot here. I'm sorry, we don't have air conditioning this weekend. You will learn real quick how reliant you are. We don't think how reliant we are on water or power. And when you realize how much you take for granted, you get up in the morning, you're not even awake, throw the bathroom light on, and the light comes on. You go to brush your teeth, and the water comes on. You flush your toilet, and everything goes down the drain until it doesn't. You know, then you go, oh, this is not going to be fun. So, unless you plan on dying of dehydration, freezing, or roasting, or living by candlelight only, figure something out. So, all right, let's get into this drawing. As I said in yesterday's video, to be a valid entry, you had to put the state in which you live in the comment and a word with the letter D as a dog. So we will go into the random comment picker here in a minute, and we will draw a name. If your name is drawn, you have 3 minutes to say in the chat room here that you are here. It must be present to win. I will say this again. When I say it, and when the mods say it, no more comments. That means no more comments. Do not comment unless you are the winner. You get lost from the live stream. Can't tell you how many times it's happened that we don't have the winner drawn the first time. You just eliminated yourself from the drawing for the second time, or for participating in the commentary per week. All right, so that's how we're going to do it there. I've been saying this for 3 years. It's not anything anybody shouldn't know. It's to make my life easier to be able to find that person who's doing it. Don't ask them much. I think that's too much to ask. Okay. All right, so let me share the screen here and share that. Let me go back over here and make sure it comes up. All right, so we tick along. And the mods are already giving you the 2-minute warning here to this. All right, waiting for the screen. Come on. There it is. Okay. All right. So let me get over to where I need to be. So there is the link to yesterday's video. Let's go see how many people we have. We do not include replies. It is primary comments only. We do not allow duplicates. Everybody gets 1 entry. So let's see how many entries we have. I think I saw we have like 1,350 people in here. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. 1,388. All right, so we're about even. All right, guys. At this point, no more comments. Okay. Mods, make sure to get this out. At this point, no more comments. Once you see the mods put it all up there, if you comment it, you are tossed. So let's see. I'll get it up there. Tick tock, tick tock. I will make sure. Okay, there we go. Rebel said it. Fast backward. Robert. Okay. By now you should see it. Okay. All right, let's go find ourselves a winner. Bye, JPOS. Have a nice week. Do. All right. Still can't go through a week. All right, and here we go. HZQC2QU, whatever the hell that means. We live in a rural area and we love it. We understand we are often on our own, but we're okay with that. Sorry, that is not a valid entry. There is no state in that. So we'll draw a game. Let's try another one. Jennifer Eisen 2330. Here in Texas, I always lived, there's the D, in rural areas. I'm not a big dog person. However, my dog, Dogbuster, stole my heart. Now he lives with me. He's my baby. LOL. But Jennifer Eisen, that is a valid entry. So, Jennifer, it is 8:15 until 8:18 to say you are here. So we are looking for Jennifer Eisen. Is it 2230? 2330. All right. Jennifer Eisen is here. There we go. Congratulations, Jennifer. You just won yourself to my Vanna White. No, you just won a Mango E from Bellbots and Elliot. What I need you to do is email me your name, physical mailing address, and phone number, and I will get that over to Elliot, and he will get that out to you this week. Uh, my email is underneath every video, so you can find it there. It's pinball preparedness at mail, the number 2 world.com. So send that on to me. Congratulations. Just add it to your preps. Good deal. All right, let me get out of that. We will get back to, let's stop sharing. I'm getting used to this thing. Okay. So I get rid of that. And here I am, and we're good. All right. So let's get into Q&A. And as per normal, if you've got a question for me, please put it in all caps. Just makes it easier for me to go through the chat room and find what you guys want to talk about. No topics are off limits. Believe me, we've talked about anything and everything, old cars to movies to gardening to politics, who knows what. So whatever's on your mind, we'll talk about. Good brain exercise for me, jumping from topic to topic, so works for me. Only thing I require is that everybody treat everybody in here with respect. That includes me. If you want to be an ass, do it somewhere else. I still get the emails every once in a while. I just block you. I block you out of the channel. I block you out of my emails. I don't care. All right. If, as I've said a million times, I don't have time for assholes in my normal life. I'm not going to deal with them on the internet either. And I don't think anybody needs to be coming in here to be difference of opinion. I get it. You want to be an idiot about it? I don't get it. So, and my channel, my choice. That's it. All right. Let's get to the top. I saw there were some questions before we can throw it. Okay. That's a question. That's a question. Do. That's okay. North Alabama hiking. Pinball, do you feel as if customer service has went way down here since 2020? 8 weeks ago, I took my truck to the shop for repairs. I picked it up yesterday because they never touched it. Jeez. Now, with the truck, do you know why they never touched it? If they can't get the part, that's a possibility. I think I told you that this was a couple of years ago. Company's mechanic, and they were waiting 6 months or something for an oil pan for a Jeep, and that because a lot of the car parts we get come from China. Of course, we know everything going on with tariffs too. So, if that's the reason, but customer service doesn't exist anymore. I mean, we've all seen the videos, the signs, the receipts, or whatever. We've all experienced this. You know, waitresses expecting 30 and 35% tips. Signs on the doors of restaurants: if you're not going to tip 25%, don't order food. Uh, you know, I happens to me. You know, I think I've told you some of these stories. We go to eat somewhere, and the food comes out before the appetizer, or the food comes out before the salad, or they never bring your drink, or and then it's like they expect a tip. It's like, no, your service sucked. You go into Home Depot or Walmart or whatever, you can't find anybody to help you. You got, I mean, you walk through Home Depot and you're looking for, I don't know, pick some, uh, a little plastic hooks that you stick on the wall, for example. Okay, the 3M little. It's not. There's not a section for that. So you want to find somebody. Hey, where can I find this little stick-on hooks or whatever? We had this. I forget we were looking for a month or so ago. You can't find an employee in these stores to ask questions, to help you, to get customer service. You go into the grocery store. I mean, this is always my favorite. You walk into the grocery store, they've got 6, 8, 10 cashiers lines built. And there's one cashier working and the line's 6 people long. And they're like, go over and use the self checkout. No, you don't pay me. Okay. I'm sorry, you want to save money by me doing the work. But, you know, no, I'm not going to run through in this little 2 by 2 square cart full of groceries. Uh, you can't find anybody to help you. You call a repairman or something like this, anything that you need. And I mean, I hear this from people around here all the time. They just don't show up. Oh yeah, I'll come out and take a look at that. Okay, give me a free estimate. Great. When are we going to be here? Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Tuesday at 10 o'clock rolls around. No show. FedEx. I've had the last 2 packages that I've had to send out of here. FedEx. Most when I ship stuff to you, this is why I use it. Yes. Last 2 things I had to ship FedEx because they were returns. I had a scheduled appointment to take that for FedEx to come pick it up because otherwise it's an hour's drive for me to the nearest FedEx pickup place. I'm not taking out half my day driving back and forth for something like that and spending $30 of gas. You can come pick it up. The last 2 times I've had a scheduled pickup, they did not show up, and I had to call them and go, "What's going on?" Oh, well, let's see. The first time the driver lied, said they were here, the package wasn't ready. That wasn't true. And the second time, even though I had a confirmation number that I got from a live person, they forgot to tell dispatch. At least this is true. So, yeah, I would agree with you that customer service sucks. To open a customer facing business, you'd be an instant millionaire if you had good customer service because people would be shocked. All right. And Angel Dupree, what do you make with the elderberries? Elderberry syrup. That is basically what we do with it. It's great on pancakes. It's good if you've got a cold or whatever it is. But just some elderberry syrup. That's all. I mean, not that we get much elderberry, but, make a little, probably 2 ounce, 3 ounce. Yeah, I don't know. Now it's got to be at least 4 ounces. On a little syrup first. Make that, boil down some elderberries and make the syrup out of it. Yeah, comes out good. Uh, Okie Forge, maybe colleges should not offer useless degrees. I agree with you there. Okay. I mean, there certain ones, I mean, again, you go medical, legal, engineering, finance, stuff like that. Yeah, I get it. But, you know, Latin American dance is not what you'd call a useful degree. You can say whatever you want about music. Let's say you're a trombone player or whatever, and you'll go get a degree in music. Unless you're going to Juilliard or some very prestigious school, don't expect to make a ton of money. Just, I'm not picking on anybody, but if you're playing in the Omaha, Nebraska orchestra, you're not making a ton of money. If you're playing Carnegie Hall, right, you're all right. But chances are, get a skill and that's what kills me. These kids go to school. It's like, oh, this sounds like fun. You're going to college to build a life. That's the first step to building a life. I mean, I don't care if it's going to get a business degree or a plumbing certificate. You're going to get that education that is going to propel you for the rest of your life. And you go, you know what? I think I'm going to dedicate my life to Latin American dance. Good luck, everyone. You know, because, and again, you get into a lot of people that will say, and my mother was an example of this, got a degree in one thing and never worked in her field a day in her life, wound up in a different career. That used to work. That before go back 50 years, it used to be if you had a degree in chemistry, you might go get a job in finance somewhere. That was possible. Now, unless you have a degree specifically what the company's looking for, you get the job, applying for a job as an electrical engineer, you better have a degree, BSEE, not a BSME, because they're not taking mechanical engineers. They want electrical engineers. That's it. It's engineering. I understand it. Granted, there's a difference between mechanical and electrical. Not saying there isn't, but there is no wiggle room anymore. It's like you pick what you want. That's it, and you better get used to doing what you want. So yeah, I agree. Stop offering the useless degrees. If you're going to go to college, get something that's going to make you can make a career out of. Barefoot chickens. What is the first thing I did when I decided to start prepping? Did I change anything I bought in the beginning? Okay, that's a loaded question. Uh, because the first things I bought for prepping was your basic foods and weaponry. That was and this is when I was just starting. Okay, we weren't living here. Okay, this was eventually an idea to get away from everywhere, get land. Uh, I mean, when I started doing all this, this was Salt Lake City, 2013, 14, probably when I really started doing anything. Uh, and it was starting by putting food up and, okay, starting to build an arsenal, if you will, protection wise. But I didn't have the property. I didn't have the potential for, as I said before, water. The power generation stuff wasn't even the way we know it now, wasn't even in existence. And at the same time, I was coming out of basically being homeless. And I vowed never, and how I wanted to get into it was I basically vowed never to be in that situation again. Uh, it's a good introspective question. I can't, there's inevitably things I bought that I shouldn't have uh, wasted money on. I think we've all done that. Uh, but no, I went pretty much on the standard. You start with beans and rice, you get into some canned goods, vegetables, the fruit, the meats, tuna fish or the canned ham or canned chicken or what. I mean, I almost very methodically follow the standard prepper way of doing things just because I've always been a believer in if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If everybody did this 5 million times before me, who the hell am I to rewrite the rules? And so I just kind of followed along there. And then as I got more and more and more comfortable with doing this, then I started doing my own thing. And I knew property was wanted. I knew gardens were wanted. I knew I wanted to be near source of water. Uh, you know, so I customized the basic blueprints. I, I mean, if there was any one big mistake, no, I can't really think of one. I mean, little ones, sure. Uh, but no, honestly, I can't think of a big mistake, something I would have done. I'm pretty happy with how the direction that I took in this. Patrick King, what do I think about telecom stocks? I'm in deep. Uh, I mean, I honestly I don't know. Are you talking about owning AT&T, or are you talking about owning like cable providers, Comcast, or something like that? You got to give me a lot more specificity of the question, and even then, I may not have an answer for it because telecom is not something that I own. Any. Mickey Savage, I heard that Senator Kennedy went to Oxford in England, but back then they provided real education. Okay. Uh, maybe he did, maybe he did not. I don't, I mean, I like John Kennedy as a senator. I think he's hilarious. I like that he's basically blunt to the point. But, as for knowing background, uh, prep rebel, wear my hat, become my hat prim. Well, I can't because it plugs into a USB port. You guys said this microphone that just plugs in was better than the lapel one that I wear. I usually make the videos because we're just doing this off the laptop, not off the phone. JBoo54 in PA. I pressure can 1 quart of water with every 6 quarts of canned food. I understand doing that to fill the pressure canner. That makes sense. But you don't need to pressure can the water. Put it in the jar and seal it. Get one of the plastic lids, seal it. I keep empty milk jugs and empty juice jugs, if you will, with water. I rotate it, but we keep that just in case we need water to wash with, or we need water to flush a toilet. So that's my backup to if the solar is not working for my well pump. So I mean, I've got backups to backups. And then of course I've got the pond, which is now a source of water. Plus I've got the lake 200, 300 yards away from me where I can go get water. Yeah, you don't need to pressure can water. I mean, I get it when you're trying to make sure your pressure can is full. That makes sense. Uh, Carolyn Food Forest. I've been through hurricanes that have left me with no electricity for many days. That's why I'm a prepper. And I think we've all been through something. There was some event in our life that caused us to say, never again. Okay. And Carolyn, in yours, it's hurricanes. It may be people that were in the Midwest of tornadoes, or a divorce will do it to you. I mean, that was what kind of led to me. Like I said, homelessness will do that to you. And you go, crap, I don't have food to eat. What are you going to do? Uh, but yeah, we all have some events that happen. I mean, now maybe some people were raised with the mentality, but then you just go, your parents or your grandparents had some event that caused them to live this lifestyle. And depending on your age, you get grandparents, you go back and start talking about the Depression, and that would be a big one. Even go back to World War II generations, when we had restrictions and not sanctions. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Brain fart. Uh, but, where all the rubber was going to the troops, or the food that you were going to get was victory gardens and stuff like that. Uh, Rations. That's what I'm looking for. That we all had an event, and for everybody, it's different what you went through. But ultimately, it all gets us to the same spots. Some people have more than one. Military guys will get it. That's an event. Especially if you did any time in combat, or in a field. And you go, this sucks. I don't like being out here cold or without dry socks. And you start learning that sort of stuff, and it grows upon itself. So, all right, there's all the no more comments. She is here. Congratulations. So those are all the questions before the drawing. So if you ever wonder how far behind I am, that's it. Tan, question: how to prepare for the alien ship landing in November? You basically put the crack pipe down, go to an AA meeting, and say, "I've completely lost my mind. I'm believing bullshit." That's how you prepare for that. Let's see. Next, it said my thoughts about 31 Atlas. I talked about that in a video a couple of days ago, so I'm not going to rehash that. There's a whole video on that one. Let's. Cheryl asks about Rudy with Alaska Prepper. Nope, as I said last week, it's not like Rudy's calling me up to telling me what his status is, so I do not know. L.A. Morris, when will Mayorkas be arrested? Good question. When will Hillary be arrested? When will Barack Obama be arrested? Uh, I'm still waiting. You hear all this. We're putting a case together. Okay, give us something here because we know the crimes were committed, and obviously there's a lot of dirty backroom deals in Washington, but we need to see more than John Bolton's house getting raided. You know, we need to see orange jumpsuits and people standing in court. I mean, if it's Letitia James, if it's Lisa Cook, if it's Adam Schiff for the minimal stuff, if you will, of mortgage fraud, minimal, I say, compared to Hillary Clinton getting people killed, Benghazi, or Barack Obama committing treason. You know, the, we need to see this. That's that's what needs, in my opinion, that's what needs to be done. The facts need to be beyond any sort of reasonable doubt. So you can look at the most hardcore liberal, pink haired, nose ring, skinny jeans soy boy and go, you can't refute this. They're guilty to the point where they go, yeah, you know what? Hillary Clinton is a murderer. She needs to go to jail. Uh, that they need to get that much. It can't be this. Well, we think we can get her. No, it needs to be open and shut. But we need to see some blood because that will scare the crap out of the rest of them. And I always love Hillary's comment. She goes, "If they take me down, I'm taking half of Washington with you." And I'm always like, "Challenge accepted. Cool. I agree to your terms. No problem." Susan Musser, if I was just starting solar, what would I get? Again, there is no one size fits all. What would I get if I was just starting? The one I would go with because it fits the size of my house is the Anchor F3800. That's where I would go now. It wasn't available when I put my system in, which is the original EcoFlow Pro. The reason I go with the F3800 is because the capacity can be double what I have. Therefore, I would have been able to run my HVAC system on it for the size house I have. Now, if you've got a bigger house, I mean, ours is interior is about 1,600 square feet, so we're not talking. If you've got a 2,500 square foot, you're going to need a bigger system. If you live in San Diego and you never need air conditioning, maybe you don't need it at all. It, as I've said many times, that question is impossible to answer for someone else. What would I do? What fits my needs? What you need to do is what fits your needs. The size of your house is different. The climate is different. Do you have forced air heating? Do you have a heat pump? I mean, those things all come into play. There's a lot of figuring out. Do you have a well pump to run at all? What do you run that's on 240? What do you run that's on 120? There's some houses that everything's on 120. You got a gas dryer, a gas stove, and wall unit air conditioners. You don't need something that can run 240. Don't get it. Don't spend the money on it. This is what I'm saying. There is not a one answer. How do I save seed? I'm assuming you're talking about once I have harvested the seeds, like the cucumbers that we grew. I mean, we let some of them go completely yellow. Mrs. P was out cleaning out the cucumbers the other day. And I mean, these are pickling cucumbers that were 2-pound cucumbers. I mean, they were huge, fat, they're size of a Nerf football and golden yellow. All right, those are ready. So we cut them open, scrape out the seeds. And of course, I've got to wash off the internal stuff, whatever it is, that keeps it from sprouting inside. Dry out the seeds, just let them sit on the counter, and then I just put them in an envelope, label it with pickling cucumbers 2025, and it goes in the drawer. Uh, that's it. You know, every seed is different on how you save it. So, but if you're asking, I mean, if you're asking the question of do I freeze them or put them in the refrigerator or whatever it is, there's certain flowers that need stratification, vegetables don't, most at least. The ones that we grow, we're not going to need stratification, like winter chill hours. But yeah, again, guys, try to be a little bit more specific in the questions. When you're real vague, I can't, it's harder to answer the question. So I might not even be answering what you're trying to ask. Joy David, any ideas for storing needed tools when you're in a 23-foot trailer? Yeah, I can. Storage is a problem for everybody. Uh, Now, when you're saying you're in a trailer, are you like mobile in this trailer? That makes it really difficult. Are you on the land? I mean, and if it's a stationary trailer, you're living somewhere. Now, do you own the land or not? What you can find are these portable sheds. And if you own the land, you can build a permanent structure. I get it. But if you're leasing the land or renting the land, go for one of these portable sheds. They're not, I mean, they're not cheap, but they're not overly expensive, but they're heavy duty plastic. They're lockable. Nobody's moving it. And if you've got to leave the property, it comes apart and you can go reset it up in the next place. Because I get it, even in when they built this, mind you, we didn't build this house, okay? We bought this house in California. And the people who built it as a weekender home or whatever it is. They didn't really plan on this being a year-round house. So there's nothing in the way of closet space here. There's a bedroom closet in each bedroom. That's all the closets we got. There's not a single closet on the first floor of the house. Okay. So we are short on storage space. And before we built the garage, it was like everything was in the house. So we built a shed, we built the garage. We had no. Where do you put a lawnmower when you have no shed, no garage? Our lawnmower sat out in the yard because there was nowhere to put it. I get what you're talking about, storage space. And especially what we do, as everybody likes to call us hoarders, but y'all know as well as I do, when you start storing, a year or 2 years, 3 years worth of food. It takes up a lot of space. Now you're storing medical supplies and you've got ammunition. I mean, I've got my gun safe. I'd need like three safes to store all the ammunition I got. Okay. It all takes up space and it takes and its weight. So, there's the other thing you've got to look at. It's like, oh, I'm going to put it in a bedroom. Yeah, until you go, how much weight, you start thinking how much weight the food is. Now you start putting the ammunition on it, you go, holy crap, I get this all come through and be sitting in my living room in the middle of the night. So, yes, I totally get what you're talking about with storage. But check out those portable sheds. That might be an option. Uh, Sherry Alderman, pinball. My blueberries look dead, so I had hubby mow them down. They're now new sprouts. Will they survive the winter? Is there anything I should do to protect them? Okay, not knowing where you are, but you're saying winter. Yeah, they will continue to grow. You're okay. What I would do, I'm guessing you live somewhere that it's got snow. What I would probably do, not yet. Okay. Once we get to that point of we're at freeze warning type, then I put a 5 gallon bucket in it. Okay. And try to keep it warm. You can't. What works well, depending on how high it is too. In that 5 gallon bucket, put some straw, and you probably find somebody's going to have hay bales or something like that, straw bales that are used for Halloween decorations. Grab some of that the day after Halloween when it's sitting out on the curb waiting to go to the trash, and that'll work. Put that inside the bucket, put it over. That works good as insulation. Because yeah, you're right. If you just got these teeny little buds on them, stuff like that, or first leaves, uh, you have a chance of them freezing. I don't know exactly where you are, but if you're way up north, yeah, that would I would try to protect it. Oaky Forge, do I have a rain catchment system? Yeah, it's called a pond. That's my rain catchment system. If I get that thing going, it'll be 150,000 gallons of water. I'm okay. So Delta Heart Homestead. I have one Mango E already. If I buy another one to run 240, would a transfer switch be the only other thing needed to connect to my breaker box? They have, the reason I know this is because I helped somebody put in two Mango E's. Okay. Uh, there is, and I don't know exactly how we did this. There was a box that it's just a little box that you get from Mango that you plug two generators into, and then from that box there's a wire that goes to the transfer switch. I mean cable, not a wire that goes to the transfer switch, and you're all set. So yeah, literally, there's there like a junction box that you connect. You plug the two generators into the J box. You plug the J box into the transfer switch, and you're good. That's it. Yeah, and then you can control everything right off of your main breaker. That's how to set up that. Perfect. So, Dale from Ohio. The government has taken a 10% stake in Intel. Is setting another precedent? It's not a precedent, I guess. If you, this one's a little different. I'm not a fan of them doing this. I'm never a fan of government public private partnerships. I'm not a fan of it. You go back to the bailout of the automakers back in the late 70s, early 80s. You go to the bailout of the airlines back after 9/11. Uh, a lot of the automakers too. I'm not a fan of it. Like I said, there's things Trump does that I just don't agree. If I don't want to wave. say this. Let's put it this way. I wouldn't want to be an Intel shareholder at this point with the government involved that closely. Because again, I'll go back to what I've said a million times. Please name me one business the government has ever run efficiently. And even though they have a 10% stake, you don't think that they're going to be twisting arms at board meetings, board of directors meetings, shareholder meetings, you know, well, we're the state, so what do we say we're going to do it this way? Because otherwise, you're not going to pass this uh, laws or whatever all the regulations. You need to do it this way because this is the way we'll get your regulatory approval. Government can say that, Joe average shareholder can't, and twist arms. So, yeah, I'm not a fan. Cersei, when make just in case y'all didn't notice here, I posted something on the community board yesterday. Cersei had a stroke recently, and so I put up a post in the community post, see if we can help her out a little bit. Her and Murphy, her Cocker Spaniels. You saw that, prayers, or if you can spare a little to give her a little bit of help. She's been around here since the beginning. So uh, I prayers for you, and Mrs. P and I don't get it too. I hope you saw that. So when making chicken soup, what vegetables for autumn do you add in noodle choice? Uh, Mrs. P makes the soups. Okay, you guys have seen the recipes. I like, and I do not complain about her cooking. Trust me, her cooking is. I just let her go. But she makes a cream of chicken, which is with rice, and then she makes a chicken noodle soup that is with the vermicelli noodles, the teeny little ones. Now, what I like is probably what you're talking about, chicken soup, and obviously it's not. I like it with the big egg noodles and the carrots and the potatoes and the peas and the celery. That's what I like in it. Uh, I'm not telling her how to cook, you know. And when she's making chicken soup from scratch, it's not even using chicken broth. She's doing it straight from the chicken. Uh, we're just gonna let her go. So yeah, you guys know I love her cream of chicken soup. The vermicelli soup is good in a hot, not a cold day. Uh, it's just basic chicken, but the cream of chicken soup is to die for. So, right. Appalachian American. Besides stringing and drying, is there anything else to do to store habanero peppers? Well, yeah, pickling them is great. Canning them. I mean, we pickle peppers. Uh, habaneros. I mean, about the hottest I get because I can deal with habaneros. She's about jalapenos, about as far as she's can go. Uh, but like pepperoncini, we'll pickle. I've pickled jalapenos. Pickled jalapenos are hot. I can't imagine what pickled habaneros are going to be. Those things really light you up. Uh, but we just clean peppers and can them too in pint jars because then later on down the road, I can use them to throw into pick something, pot of chili, or when I'm making enchiladas or something like that. We'll can them up that way. I mean, anything they can in the store, you can can at home. You can go buy jars of peppers or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, drying them, sure, I do that. Canning them and pickling them. Uh, War story, pinball. Been hearing a lot about a stock market crash. those investments should be leery or liquid. What do I think? Okay, you're putting me on because this is one of those questions where if I'm wrong, kind of like Ukraine people still give me shit for it. Uh, I'm going to say this: I'm still putting money in the market, okay, and anybody that says we're going to have a market crash, I want you to go look at a historical chart of the Dow Jones Industrial Average going back to 1910 through today. And you will see basically it's a straight line at about 30 degrees going up, with the exception of the one big blip for the Great Depression. Now, granted, there are ebbs and flows, ups and downs. I mean, you have periods, a month, 6 months, a year, a few years, where the market could be down or the market could be well up. I my and I've told you guys this. I did the video on this about a week or so, or about a month or so ago. My positioning in the market is on what we used to call widows and orphans stocks. The larger companies, very boring. Nothing really happens to them. Uh, they don't go up, they don't go down. They just pay a good dividend and continue to exist. That's kind of my play. And how I position Mr. P and I am in gold and silver, dividend paying stocks, and then we've got a little bit of Bitcoin. And that's it. I mean, I'm not chasing Nvidia or Palantir or Coinbase or what was the new one, Galaxy or something. I'm not chasing those things. I mean, I have conversations with friends of mine too. At my age, when I was 30, right? Sure, I was going after the high flying stocks. I mean, back then they were the Cisco's, the Oracles, the Googles, and that sort of stuff. Okay. Those still aren't tech darlings, but uh, those are the ones that you were chasing back then. Because I knew I had time if the market went down for 3, 4, 5 years to recover. All right, I'll be 59 next week. I'm getting close to retirement age. Basically, I am, for all intents and purposes, retired. I mean, the only thing I do now is if I've got an old client that says they need help finding somebody, that's when I'll work on it. Uh, I'm not looking for new clients or anything anymore in that respect. So it's I'm into capital preservation, not into capital appreciation. Now, sure, I mentioned buying Ford. I was buying Ford. Oh God, when did I start buying? Last summer, maybe it was. I mean, my cost basis in Ford is like $9.60. Ford's like 11.80 right now. Add that to the dividend, I've got a 30% return in Ford. Boring old Ford. Okay. How can you buy Ford? Oh, I don't know. Besides the fact the stock's up 25% and paying me a 6.5% dividend because of the price I've got it, high yield. Yeah, I think it's okay. you know, it's I I don't when you say stock market crash, there's going to be specific things that are crash. I think it's going to be a sector by sector, what's going to go up, what's going to go down. I'm more onto a defensive side. And that is just my view of the economy. It's the same reason why I've said gold and silver. It's the same reason I got out of the market at the beginning of COVID. It turned out to be a great move to pay off our house. And so now it's like, okay, now it's time to go back. But I'm defensive. I'm still not trusting all the wars going on in the world, the tariff situation, the illegal situation. We need until I see a lack of divisiveness in this country, I'm going to stay with defensive posture. That's just me. Uh, Holy crap! I'm going. It's 8:59. First time I look at the clock. That's the end of it. Okay. Well, I guess that was the end of the live stream. It's 9 o'clock. So, have a good evening, gang. We'll see you in the morning. People out.